Alright guys, welcome to my channel. I can't believe it's almost Christmas time. I've got one more week to work for the business I'm serving for, and after that we're going to take a 3-week Christmas and New Year break. It's going to be some downtime for me, and I definitely need it because I've been training quite hard and keep consistently uploading videos to my own YouTube channel. So yes, I definitely need some rest time. But one thing for sure is that I'm not going to stop my training during this period. And for the same reason, I'm not going to stop pushing for my fat loss progress. And speaking of which, this is the 10th week since I've embarked on my fat loss journey. So as usual, just want to bring another week's fat loss update to you guys. But before I reveal this week's fat loss progress to you guys, I would greatly appreciate if you can just give me a thumbs up, and also probably just consider subscribing to my channel. It would mean a great deal to me as a small YouTube fitness creator. Thank you very much for your support. Alright, now I'm done with my self-promotion. Without further ado, let me just first put out the table there for you guys to reference in relation to what I've done in this week. And we will start from last Saturday. So the last Saturday's morning weigh-in result, it was 80.8 kilos. This is going to be the number we're going to measure against this morning's weigh-in result. So look at the table. I did my notes. I did 2 sessions of cardio on last Saturday. But prior to last Saturday, I did train myself in the gym on last Friday. So when I woke up on last Saturday, what I can tell was that all my muscle groups, they were recovering quite well. So there were no lagging feelings in any body parts whatsoever. Generally speaking, when I finish my weight training, the next day, I'm going to feel some of my body parts, the recovery can be troublesome from time to time, but this time on last Saturday, there were no lagging feelings to speak of in any of my body parts. So it's a good indication that my recovery was definitely on track. But now let's go back to fat loss. One thing I want to say is that I'm increasingly getting the feeling on last Saturday that everybody is underestimating how much body fat they carry around, including somebody like me, who has been in this game, in the fitness game, for the last 5 years. Yet still, I definitely have underestimated how much body fat I'm carrying around. And one good example for me to show you guys is that it's very difficult for me to, I don't know whether you guys can see this in the camera or not, it's very difficult for me to get rid of, I think this is called the love handles. The love handles around my waist. Despite I tried my best effort, it's still like so difficult for me to get rid of the body fat stored in this part. And I'm already fairly lean at this point, but it's just there's still so much body fat for me to lose. So yes, definitely everybody is underestimating how much body fat they're carrying around. And I also want to say that you can also interpret your body fat from a different angle, the relationship between your body fat percentage and also your muscle mass. Something else I want to mention, the relationship between these two things, is that probably your body is only going to allow you to put on extra muscle mass when there's enough body fat around. So definitely, like when I was in my bulking phase, I could carry a lot more muscle mass. But now, because I'm in a cutting phase, my body fat is shrinking. And for the same reason, because there's not so much body fat around, the body has also decided that because there's not so much body fat around, I'm going to reduce your muscle mass as well. So yes, there's a very interesting relationship between your body fat percentage and the muscle mass. And for that reason, it's probably not a very good idea for you to be so fat phobic. I know it's rich to talk about not being so fat phobic for somebody that is currently in in a cutting phase, and for somebody coming from a fat boy background. But definitely, if you want to put on some muscle mass, it's probably a good idea for you to increase, like just even slightly increase your body fat percentage. Like once your body fat percentage is over 15%, it's probably going to be much easier to convince your body that, okay, now because there's enough body fat around, I can put on muscle mass without any hesitation. So that's what I want to say about the body fat and also your muscle mass, the interesting relationship between these two entirely opposing things that you're thinking of when you enter into your own fitness game. Now let's fast forward to last Sunday. As you guys can see, last Sunday's morning weighing result did suggest that there was a 0.2 kilo weight rebound. Yes, again, weight rebound, despite I've just done 2 hours of cardio on last Saturday. This does mean that I've got an uphill battle to kickstart my week 10 fat loss. And this is also the reason why I did 2 hours of cardio training on last Sunday. Something I want to mention here is your cardio training intensity. So as you guys know, if I do 1 hour of cardio on the elliptical, generally I will take a break at the 40-minute mark. The reason for me to do that is that generally after 40 minutes of riding on the elliptical, my shirt is going to be entirely drenched. That's the cardio training intensity I'm applying to my cardio training. And I want you guys to apply the same intensity to your cardio training as well. Your cardio shouldn't feel easy all the time. And I think for that particular reason, I did one video in my cardio training series specifically telling you guys that 10,000 steps a day, which is a very popular idea, 10,000 steps a day is never going to be enough for a lot of you guys, because that's very low cardio training intensity. And if there's such a thing as progressive overload in weight training, there should be the same thing as progressive overload in your cardio training. Keep your cardio training intensity high enough so you can strengthen your heart. And I can tell you that a stronger heart is going to confer so many benefits on you, including helping you grow more muscle mass. All right, let's fast forward to this Monday. Actually, there was not so much to talk about what happened on this Monday, except for my mind, it was feeling very obtuse. That's probably the best way to describe it. It was feeling very obtuse, very heavy during the day. I suppose that's the result of me being in a caloric deficit for the last 10 weeks. Without sufficient calories to support your brain function, your mind can be running very slowly. So that's definitely the feeling for this Monday. And despite that, I still did one session of cardio at night because I knew that for me to keep pushing for my fat loss progress, I had to do more cardio. You only got 2 choices. You can choose to eat less calories, or you can choose to burn more calories. For me, it's probably easier to burn more calories because I've got high cardiovascular fitness. See, one more benefit you can reap up from having a very strong heart. Anyway, that's what happened on Monday. Let's fast forward to this Tuesday. This Tuesday's morning weighing result, when compared to last Saturday, it was only 0.1 kilo weight drop. So again, not very good feeling for me, but I have experienced this kind of weight stagnation too many rounds now. So it's definitely no surprise to me. But something I want to tell you on this Tuesday morning is that when I woke up, I felt extremely fatigued. But this kind of fatigued feeling, it dissipated after 10 minutes of waking up. So once again, just another example for me to show you guys that your body is much more resilient than you think. 10 minutes ago, you could feel very fatigued, but 10 minutes after, I'm ready to do a faster cardio in the morning. So yes, just sometimes you can push harder, and your body can support. Your body can support you really. And all right, something else happened on Tuesday at night was again I did my weight training session on Tuesday night, and I was still able to keep up the intensity despite I felt very fatigued early in the morning. And in this weight training session, I did 3 sets of pendulum squat. Okay, something I want to tell you is that pendulum squat, it's probably, in terms of recovery, it's probably sitting in the middle between the hack squat and the belt squat. Belt squat is going to be the easiest for you to recover in terms of your quad recovery. The hack squat is going to be the hardest for your quads to recover, and the pendulum squat is somewhere in the middle. So yes, I did 3 sets of pendulum squat, and I suppose in the next few days, my quads shouldn't be feeling so sluggish in the next few days. And not surprisingly, my Wednesday's feeling supported my expectation on Tuesday, because I did 1 session of cardio training at Wednesday night, and during the whole cardio session, my legs were feeling entirely fine. So yes, it corroborates with my expectation that the pendulum squat, the recovery for your quads is going to be somewhere in the middle. And for me, because I've exposed my quads to harsh conditions, even harsher conditions before, so now my quad recovery, it was entirely not a problem exactly after my weight training. So that's what happened on Wednesday. And to be honest, I even skipped the meal early in the morning on Wednesday. So with even less calories, my quads can still recover on Wednesday. So that does tell you that, yes, if you guys are struggling with your quad recovery, sometimes it's a good idea for you to switch exercises. Don't be too obsessed with one particular exercise like hack squat. For me, I used to be very obsessed with hack squat, but you do have to pay a very hefty price when it comes to hack squat and your quad recovery. Now let's talk about what happened on Thursday. My Thursday's morning weigh-in result, it does look like it's going to be another week of weight stagnation for me at this point, which I've experienced too many times. So I'm prepared for this kind of challenge. But something else like deja vu happened on Thursday. Once again, I felt extremely fatigued when I woke up Thursday morning. And once again, after 10 minutes, this kind of fatigued feeling dissipated, and I was ready to jump on the elliptical and do 1 hour of cardio. So one more time for me to tell you guys that your body is really resilient. See, it happened on Tuesday and it happened on Thursday. And on both occasions, after 10 minutes, my body was fine for the training. And okay, I did 2 sessions of cardio on Thursday because at this point, as I just mentioned, I got this kind of sneaking fear that it's going to be another week of weight stagnation for me. So I had to keep up my training volume to just put in the hard work without question. So that's probably something else, the reoccurring theme I keep talking about in all of my fat loss videos. Sometimes you just have to put in hard work without question and have the belief that your hard work is not going to go unnoticed in the end. Now let's fast forward to this Friday. Again, my Friday's morning weigh-in result is exactly the same number as Thursday's morning weigh-in result. So again, after I've done 2 hours of cardio on Thursday, my weight didn't budge at all. So at this point, it's definitely another week of weight stagnation for me. That's why I say mental fortitude is really required as you go deeper and deeper into your fat loss. I've encountered this kind of weekly stagnation so many rounds, and it does challenge your mental fortitude. You just have to be prepared that your fat loss is not going to be smooth sailing all the way till the end. Definitely for me, the smooth sailing only lasted for the very first 3 weeks. Starting from week 4, every week it becomes very, very unpredictable for me to see how my weekly fat loss is going to turn out. And week 10 is not going to be an exception to this rule. But anyway, my last week's fat loss prediction for this week was only 0.5 kilos. So at this point, I was still somehow somewhat optimistic about me being able to achieve this weekly prediction. Maybe the result will reveal itself again on the last day, just like what happened in the last few weeks. And once again, I did my weight training session in the gym at night, and this time I did 3 sets of hack squat. I just mentioned a moment ago that hack squat is going to be the hardest for your quads to recovery. So it would be very interesting to see how my quads are going to recover in the next few days. Now it's time for the most interesting part. What's this morning's weigh-in result? Well, as you can see in the table, this morning's weigh-in result was 79.8 kilos. So there was a 0.8 kilo overnight weight drop, which this is the 7th time I've experienced that the bulk of my weekly weight loss result, it was not revealed until the very last day. So the 7th time for me to prove to you guys that sometimes you just have to put in the hard work without question, and in the end have the belief that your hard work is not going to go unnoticed. So overall, in week 10, I've managed to lose exactly 1 kilo, which doubled my last week's weight loss prediction. And for that, I'm very satisfied about my week 10's fat loss progress. Something else I want to mention about my daily feeding today is that my quads, actually, they were fully recovered overnight, which I have to say is a surprise to me, because I was expecting at least one day, a full day for my quads to recover from the 3 sets of hack squat that I just did yesterday. But to my surprise, it only took one night for my quads to fully recover. So what's the reason? What's the difference in my training? The only difference I made in this time, my last night training, was instead of doing 15 reps of hack squat, I only did 12 reps of hack squat, and actually with heavier weight. So although I'm a high reps guy, you guys, I think I've mentioned the benefit of high reps in my previous videos for different reasons. But when you're in a cutting phase, sometimes a low reps with heavier weights is probably a better alternative to higher reps with medium weights, at least for my quad training in this instance. So that's all I want to say about a Saturday's feeding. Let me make a prediction for my next week's fat loss progress, and I'm going to be a little bit bold this time and say that in the next week I should be able to lose 0.7 kilos. So this is going to be a bit more than my last week's fat loss prediction, but I'm still somewhat optimistic that I should be able to achieve that. But also I have this sneaking fear that I may run into the very first fat loss plateau since I've embarked on my fat loss journey. I know I've been talking about running into plateaus so many times, but so far I'm lucky enough that I haven't run into the very first fat loss plateau yet. And speaking of which, if you guys want to know how to pass different training plateaus on your weight training journey, not fat loss journey, I've actually done a series for you guys before. It's called Training Plateaus. In my opinion, there are 5 different training plateaus you are going to encounter on your weight training journey. And for each plateau, it's probably going to require you to deploy different strategies for you to pass each individual plateau. So if you want to know how to break each individual plateau and just keep progressing and eventually get jacked to the max like I was 3 months ago, please feel free to click on the link and watch my Training Plateau series. All right, that's all I want to say about my week 10's fat loss progress. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and once again, if you can give me a thumbs up and also probably just consider subscribing to my channel, would be much appreciated. All right, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in another week's time.